So how do we tell what representations, in particular, what interpretations, very young children have for one in this kind of context? Well, Lidz, Waxman, and Friedman in 2003 ran a looking time study with 18-month-olds. And so I'm going to give you examples following up with our pretty kitty example from before, but I should note that they actually use this colored bottles rather than kitties, so that it was very clear, for example, that a red bottle was red and not some other color. But just to continue with our example here, we'll continue with kitties. Okay, so Lidz, Waxman, Friedman said something like, "Oh, look, a pretty kitty. Do you see another one?" And then they saw where kids look. Did they look at the pretty kitty, or just the plain old not so pretty kitty? And they plotted this looking time, right? So that's what we see here on the right side. The anaphoric condition is how often did they look at the pretty kitty versus the not pretty kitty effectively. And you can see they look longer at the pretty kitty. And so the Lidz, Waxman, and Friedman interpreted this to mean, they think one means another pretty kitty in this context. One means pretty kitty, one has the antecedent pretty kitty. But just to make sure, which would mean that it's the category noun bar, that category that includes modifiers like pretty. But just to make sure, they wanted to add a couple of different comparison conditions. So, oh, look, a pretty kitty, what do you see now? Well, what do kids do then? Well, 18-month-olds in this case now look at the not so pretty kitty, the novel kitty, as it were, right? They're looking longer at the not pretty kitty. They're definitely not behaving the same way. This seems to be their baseline looking preference. What do you see now? They look at something new, in this case, the not pretty kitty, right? And that's different than what they do when you ask them, do you see another one, right? Clearly different behavior. But what happens when we say, oh, look, a pretty kitty, do you see another kitty? Well, they again look to the not pretty kitty. That baseline preference is repeated where they're looking longer at the novel kitty, as it were, the not pretty one, right? Versus, do you see another pretty kitty? Well, then they look at the pretty kitty. They look just like they look with another one where they're looking longer at our pretty kitty rather than our not pretty kitty, right? So this is the same kind of pattern as when we ask them, do you see another one? Do you see another pretty kitty? These are the same kind of behavior. So the idea is that, okay, this means that probably then at 18 months, we could interpret this as, in this context, hey, look, 18-month-olds are interpreting one as including the modifier pretty kitty, which means they have to know that one can take antecedents that are larger than nouns that are this noun bar category.